everyone, welcome back to the Easygoing Empire. I'm Morgan Batista and I am your host. And today we have a guest, Fallon Williams, and I'm so excited to talk to her. I was like totally creeping on all of her social media and website before we came on, and I just love her message. I love her brand. It's super exciting. So I'm gonna just let her go ahead and explain what she does, who she is, and then we're gonna chat all about it. So welcome, Fallon.
Thank you so much for having me on. So, I'm Fallon. I am an intuitive coach, podcaster, author, photographer, all the things. I focus on women's empowerment and teaching women to be the main characters in their lives.
I love that because I've been thinking about this actually a lot over the last couple of months that, I'm a mom, I've got four kids, and I feel like so many times we feel like at best a supporting character, if we even have like a named role in the film, it's like we're more like extras in the film. And I love the idea of changing that and really like reclaiming our spot as the main character. And so I love this. Where did you like first um I don't know, like start coming up with using this in your work and in your coaching?
Well, I had been like teaching the same concepts for a while, but I wasn't calling it that. And then at some point I was talking to a coach I was working with, and I was like, well, I just want everybody to be the main character. Like, why are they in the background? And we were talking about like the teen movies and stuff. And then it just transformed and it kind of brought all of my messaging really together then. It's an easy way to explain it because, like you said, some of us are, some days we're playing extras, some days we're supporting roles, but really we should always be the main character in our story.
So like if I felt like I was kind of in the shadows and I wanted to start claiming that main character energy, like what is the first step that I should take? What would you say is like the first place to even get started? Because again, like as a mom, sometimes you don't even know like what you are into anymore. You don't know what you like. You don't even know how to start crafting that vibe.
Right. So I think the first step is realizing, like, hey, I'm not putting myself first ever. And then start making the little decisions that really put you first. So when it comes time to make a decision, you have to ask yourself, like, is this good for me too, or is this just good for everybody else? And then once you start doing that, you have to start putting aside some kind of time for yourself. I know it's hard when you have kids, but even if it's, 15, 20 minutes in the morning to read something that you enjoy or to do a workout that you enjoy, and just start experimenting. Like, we don't know what we like because we spend our whole lives taking care of other people. So you just have to have fun with it. I tell people one good way to start is think about the things you used to do when you were younger that really brought you joy. And even if they seem silly, try them again. Like if you used to love roller skating, go ahead and try it. Maybe you still love it.
I love that. And I think that's so true. I think about this. I was thinking about it the other day because when you're like thinking about branding in your business, a lot of times it's like a personal brand you're trying to bring through like who you are. And I was like, well, like I want to be casual and look like casual most of the time, but then I also love dressing up in like cottagecore dresses. And I realized like that's exactly how I was as a child too. Like I would go out in the woods and like build forts, and I got like a purple pocket knife for Christmas one time and I like loved it. But then I also had like Barbies. I would come in and play with my Barbies. And I feel like really who we are, although we evolve, that like deep who you really are is always there. You just have to kind of like find it again, right?
Yeah, I think so too. And I think, like you said, you can be more than one kind of person. I feel like a lot of times we get like stuck in a category, like, oh, well, I'm casual, so I don't want to show people that I like to dress up too. But you can really, to be your authentic self and be the main character, you can do all of the things. Like, yeah, today I'm casual, but tomorrow I'm in this cottagecore dress and I love it and show the different sides of you. And I think people really relate with that too when you're using that in your branding.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like whenever I have tried to do what I thought I like quote unquote should do, it never hit, because people can
Mhm.
tell that it's not
Yeah.
authentic. So is like part of this, it's part of like figuring out your main character and how to be the main character, like getting back to that authenticity and like how does the intuition and the intuitive piece, like how do you feel like that comes into it?
Part of being an intuitive coach is a lot of times when I'm talking to people, I can understand things that they're not saying to me. So it'll be like the little things that they're hiding or that's going on underneath, or maybe they don't even consciously know that they're going on. So that's where that comes in for me a lot. But as the main character and as a woman, like following our intuition is extremely important. And when we're doing what we think we should be doing, we're not following that intuition. And then things in your life start to get out of alignment. And then you start feeling unhappy or you're bored with your business, bored with your brand, bored with your life in general because you're trying to be someone that you're not. So if you follow your intuition, if your intuition is telling you to do something off the wall, but you just keep getting these ideas, like, I don't know why, but I feel like I should, do this weird thing today. Just go ahead and try it because that's the authentic you trying to come out.
Do you ever have times where you feel like you're following your intuition and then it actually turns out quote unquote bad or something goes wrong and then you like question yourself. You're like, did I really, was that a true intuitive hit or was this like a lesson I had to learn? Like, how do you navigate when it goes like awry, I think?
Yeah, I've definitely had those times where I was like, this is what I need to do. I'm going to do this. Like one good example is, so I was doing personal training more before I was doing the mindset coaching. So I really wanted my own boutique studio. And I was like, now is the time. It's time to get it. So I was doing all the things. And then they like something didn't work out with the space. And I was so upset, like heartbroken. And a couple of weeks later is when COVID shut everything down. So I was like, I was upset because my plans weren't going the way that they were supposed to, but it was really like a positive redirection because I would have been stuck with a space I couldn't use and out of the money if I would have gotten it. So I think a lot of times we think we're supposed to do something because we like override our intuition a little bit. Like we'll get the intuitive hit, like it's meant for you to do this. So we try to do it our own way. And then the universe is like, I don't think that's the way that I wanted you to do it. Not, or it wasn't time yet or something. So I try to take the setbacks as redirection, try not to get too mad at myself or question myself too much. And it's hard when other people know that you have like gifts, like you can see things or you know things, and then you still do things wrong, and people look at you like, okay, but aren't you like psychic or something? I'm like, yeah, but I don't always know the answer for myself. It's much easier for me to know the answer for outside people because our emotions get all mixed in with like the general knowledge or the like the intuitive hits that we're getting. Then we mix in our own feelings and our ego. And so it gets really complicated to figure things out for yourself.
Same exact thing for me. Like with clients, I can tell you exactly what's going on with their business, what's their content needs improving. Like I can pick everything exactly apart. But then when I look at my own business, it's like I lose every ounce of knowledge that I have because you're like so stressed and attached to it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
I
it's
think attachment is the big thing when you want to follow your intuition. You really have to be detached and you have to just like sit back and go with the flow and follow the guidance from the universe. And that's so hard to do.
how do you ask for guidance for the universe? Do you like do numbers or look for signs or do you just go like inward? Like how do you find that guidance?
Well, I read tarot and um I always have a pendulum. So, but I also like I'll ask for specific signs too. And I do follow like number signs a lot as well. And a lot of it'll be a lot of messages I get will come in random forms. Like I'll get a friend sent me a meme and then somebody else sent me a video about it. And then I opened TikTok and there's a video about it. So it's like, okay, this is the third, fourth, fifth time that I've heard this message today. So clearly there's something in here I need to pay attention to.
Yeah, same. And I'm a very like logical person. I'm a Capricorn. Like I like to have like structure and all this stuff. Um
Mm-hmm.
and I've had like unexplainable experiences like when I was trying to get pregnant for the second time, I was like doing this like meditation visualization of getting pregnant. And I heard this voice in my mind say two. And I was like, oh, like I'm having twins. And this was like 2 weeks before I even conceived. Mentally, I
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, I'm having twins. Well, I had twins. I got pregnant with twins on my first month trying. And I have no explanation for that. That was like the wildest thing ever. But then like I also have this logical side of my brain that's like, okay, well, I understand how we have like confirmation bias, right? That like our brain will like look for um confirmation of certain things. Or if we say like, oh, I want to see a certain number, like our brain will just start picking up on that all the time. Or like, when you get a white car, you start seeing white cars everywhere. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm always like going back and forth, like, is it like magic? Is it the universe or is it just my brain? And like I finally for myself decided that it didn't really matter. Like that if it was helpful for me, like I don't really even care like where it's coming from at this point? Like, do you ever like question things like that? Or are you just like, nope, I know that it's the universe. Like I've had too many experiences. Like, how do you process that?
I used to question it a lot too. And then just so many things kept happening. I was like, this can't be a coincidence at this point. And then also I'm like, well, I'm never gonna know. Do we have any way of really knowing? Like, is this magic or is this just my mind playing tricks on me? What is it? And I feel like life is more fun when you just believe in magic. So I'm like, I'm just gonna go with it's magic and I'm gonna follow it.
Yeah, totally. And it's funny because I feel like as far as I know, the internet is magic. Like I have no idea how that actually works. Like I understand there's science to it, but like everything feels magical to me. The fact that we can like talk like this and see each other on a video feels
Yeah.
pretty magical.
Right. We can meet people from all over the world. Like I absolutely love it. When people are like, I hate social media, I'm like, I love it. I've made so many friends and connections and had great conversations.
Well, that's one of the things to like go with your intuition too, that like I just went through kind of a purge of a lot of people I was following on Instagram and on TikTok that I might think that I thought they had great content. Like there's nothing wrong with them, but something about the way that they shared things or what they were sharing like brought up not great feelings in myself? And
Hmm.
sometimes I used to think like, oh, well, you have to just work through that. But then I decided like, no, like that's not where I'm at right now. I just want to have like a certain vibe, a certain like positivity inside of myself. And so if something doesn't like intuitively feel good anymore, even if logically it does make sense, then I just start like unfollowing people. And that has made my social media experience a lot better?
Yeah, I started doing that too because I used to feel bad for deleting people, and I don't know why, but I probably like the people pleasing thing, like, oh, I don't want to make hurt people's feelings, and they didn't really do anything. But now I'm just like, I don't really like that, so I'll just delete you, and nobody actually cares. No, people don't really know. I haven't had anybody yell at me about deleting them or anything. And then I have such a like positive, happy social media. So I don't, when people start complaining about how negative it is, I'm like, well, just delete people.
Yeah, like you get to control your algorithm, right? Like we always
Hmm.
complain about if you're in social media or you have a business, like we complain about the algorithm a lot? But
Hmm.
ultimately, like we have a lot of control over our algorithm.
Hmm.
And isn't that kind of like a metaphor for like mindset and intuition and all that stuff that we have more control than we think we do?
Definitely. We choose our experiences and how we react to them. And then from there, it like triggers the next thing, just like the algorithm. What you engage with is what you attract. whether it's on the internet or in real life. So if you're engaging in negativity, then you attract more negativity.
Yeah, for sure. So going back to the main character idea, and I mean, we kind of like went on some tangents because I don't know, I have ADHD, so there's always going to be a few
So do
tangents
I.
in there. But let's say, okay, so we can feel maybe sometimes something's off. How do we
Mhm.
like identify, first of all, even what that is, you know? Because sometimes you'll be like, okay, I know something's wrong. I don't feel like I'm prioritizing myself, but I'm not sure what even would help me, you know?
I think the best thing to do is have like a certain self-care routine that you can always fall back on when you're feeling stressed out or you're feeling overwhelmed. Like I know when I start feeling a little off, I'm like, well, have I been journaling? Because I need to write and get everything out of my brain. And when I'm doing really well, I do that every day. But then when life starts getting in the way, I'll notice like I haven't really written anything in 2 weeks. Like no wonder I'm anxious now because all these thoughts are in my mind instead of getting them out. And like you have to have a physical care routine, whether you're just walking or you like to go to the gym or you want to do yoga, whatever it is that you like to do, some way to move your body. So I like journaling, move your body. Are you eating healthy? Because that's one of the other first things that go as a mom is we're just like randomly eating like one of the kids chicken nuggets and like a snack here and there instead of sitting down and having like a full nourishing meal. So I just start with the basics like that. Like, am I drinking water? Am I eating? Am I moving my body? And am I doing like journaling or meditation? Am I doing a spiritual practice if I have one? Like, am I doing these things? And once you start there, it becomes easier to identify what else is going wrong. But you have to meet your basic needs first.
Yeah, that is really helpful for me too. Like I can tell when I go off track and I used to like feel bad about that, you know? I used to feel like guilty that I would get off track with whatever it was, whether it was like eating or exercising or journaling. And now like I've accepted that I'm gonna get off of it sometimes, you know? And then just know like as soon as I dive back in, I'm probably gonna feel better right away. Like it really is such a huge game changer to like have that routine.
Yeah. And just to accept, like, you're not always going to be able to stick to it. It's impossible to remain 100% consistent when you have to take other care of other people. But just because you fell off for 2 weeks doesn't mean you can't start again. Like
Hmm.
nobody's keeping track of your days for you. Like, oh, well, she didn't do it last week, so she doesn't have the right to do it this week. Like, nobody cares.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is like I think sometimes I have this like judger in my mind that is like keeping score or something, but nobody is actually. It's just like how you said when you unfollow people, it's not like anyone messages you and is like, "Why'd you unfollow me?" You know, it's the
Right.
same thing. There's no one out there like berating who's actually going to come berate me because I, you know, didn't go for a walk today. And so removing
Mhm.
that like guilt or something um helps for me a lot.
Yeah, me too. Like, I will argue with that little voice in my head, like, just shut up. And I tell people, like, give the little mean voice a name because it makes it more fun to tell the little mean voice, like, just shut up, go away. We don't have time for this today. I'm not doing this with you.
I love that. I love that. And I think the other thing too is like with the main character vibes and having the schedule or the routine is sometimes I feel like it feels like you're just checking things off, which is still good. But I love this idea of main character and being the main character because there's something romantic about that too. You
Mhm.
know? It like
Yeah.
takes it from just this checklist to um you know like a movie montage, you know, or something.
That's exactly how I picture it, especially on like the weeks that I'm really just tired and I'm like, I don't want to do this. Those are the days that I'll be absolutely extra. Like I'm getting dressed up and I'm putting on like a random green fur coat to go to my office where nobody is going to see me, but I still feel good like walking to the car and walking in. And I imagine like, well, I'm a character and everybody else is just living in my movie. So I gotta get up and look good. And like if you just make up scenarios as you go along, it makes life more interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Like sometimes when I'm gardening, I like to wear like dressings,
I love
because
that.
it feels so much more
Yes.
fun than, well, like, just my everyday stuff.
Yeah. And then it's like a scene from like a 1950s movie, the wife in her beautiful dress outside in the garden. I absolutely love that.
Yeah, it's the best. It really is. Um, so yeah. Oh, the one thing that you said before is you said you got an office. Do you have an office away from the ho from your home that you go to, or do you just, I want
Yeah.
to know
So
about that because that sounds so
I have
cool.
a I have a whole studio where I do my photography now and I have my office in here. That's where I am right now. So originally during COVID, I had anywhere between 7 and 10 kids at my house. So when I was trying to record my podcast, it was chaotic. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to homeschool in the morning and then the afternoon I'm going to go to an office. So I got like one of those really small offices to start. And I would just go there and record or go there and write just to have some time away from kids. And now is like a necessary part of my life. I think it helps me be the main character in my family because they always need something. And when you work for yourself, sometimes your family doesn't always respect your time. So you can be like, well, I'm at the office, so I'm unavailable versus like I'm in my room with the door closed. Like you're not unavailable, you're at home.
Yeah, I love that. I've been thinking about how to like incorporate that into my life, whether it's like to find co-working spaces or just like scheduled days that I go to, like there's a new like local coffee shop opening, like even just that
Mm-hmm.
to be able to have that time and feel like, I don't know. Like, I don't have a lot of time at this point where I just go to a coffee shop or just like go out and do those little things. Because when you've got 4 kids, it's not a relaxing, fun thing, you know? And
Right.
so if I
Yep.
can like incorporate that into even my business, it makes everything more fun, even just doing the mundane business tasks.
Absolutely. My best friend and I used to meet like before I had a space. We would meet every Sunday afternoon or evening at a coffee shop and like plan out our content for the week. And it was just so nice to have like a couple of hours of adults time, peace and quiet, and you can just focus, no distractions.
I love that. I want to start doing that too. I also have thought about like trying to bring together a local group, because I feel like so many times the people that we network with are online and we don't see them in real life.
Yeah, if you can find people around you that are willing to do that, that would be awesome.
Nice.
My
All
friend and
right.
I tried and it always ended up just being us.
Well, there
So I'm
is a
like,
group.
okay, it's just us.
There's a group here that does meet. It's like local businesses of all variety in my area, but they meet at like 7 a.m. on a Wednesday morning. And I'm like, I'm not even awake then. Like I still have a kid that wakes up in the middle of the night, so I get every minute of sleep I can.
Yeah, and who wants to talk at 7 a.m.?
Not me. I don't know. Maybe these people are like, I have no
I'm not
idea.
like they meet before they work. I'm not that
I
kind of person
guess.
either.
Yeah, it must be because they have to be to work at like 9 o'clock, so they have to meet before 9. I forget that people have like actual schedules out there in the world. Because even my husband, now he does have a schedule, but he works from home too, and he's a graphic designer. So we just like our whole life is just immersed in a very like free vibe, which is kind of like the whole point of why we do this. But I
Right.
forget about the real world sometimes.
I know. Sometimes I do too. And I'll be talking to people about things and like, well, I'm at work. Like, oh yeah.
Well, it's been like awesome chatting. Is there anything else that you feel like you want to share or any last like nugget to share with folks? And then if there's also um where people can find you if you want them to follow you on a certain place or go to your website or whatever you want to share.
Okay. My website is captivationqueens.com and I'm Captivation Queen everywhere on social media. I don't know if I have any last wisdom to share. I think just start putting yourselves first. That's my big message, you know. You have to choose yourself because nobody else is going to if you don't.
That's so true. That's so true. I feel like every day I have to like actually make that choice, right? It's like,
Yeah. It's something you have to do every single day. It does start coming more natural after you do it for a while, but yeah, every single day you have to make that choice.
yeah. Thank you so much for being here. This has been awesome.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Let's